Hey guys and gals, Eric Pride here, bringing you a quick Dark Souls 3 video. This is the Dancer of the Boreal Valley at Soul level 13. I'm going to show you my stats real quick here, and the gear that I'm using, it's pretty minimal, stuff I would have been able to collect up to this point in the game. I've got 20 Vigor, I have 993 hit points when embered, so just under 1,000. I'm using a Raw Store Sword +2, very minimal ring setup, nothing spectacular. Probably the Blue Tear Stone is the best thing I'm currently using. The Dancer of the Boreal Valley is weak to dark damage, so I'm going to go ahead and use a Dark Pine Resin. And I just kind of want to talk about the tactics that I use during her two phases here. During her first phase, I rotate almost exclusively to the right. I've heard people say rotate left to avoid the grab, and if this works for you, then by all means go ahead and do it. I think I've just gotten so much in the habit of rotating right because of the way enemies hold their weapons that I still did it for this fight. But as you can see, you're still able to roll the grab if you roll right. And in fact, rotating right allows you to literally walk out of the grab if your placement is right. Now that being said, I wouldn't try that. I would always roll the grab because it is her most deadly attack, and if you are below maximum health, it will kill you. In fact, at this soul level, any phantom that I had included would have been instantly killed by that attack. During her first phase, she has two attacks that you have to watch for. The first one is the grab, and the second one is a flame explosion she does when she puts her fingers into the ground. Everything else is pretty easily rollable, or you can simply stand near her, like that flame kind of like stab the sword into the ground attack she just did. She honestly, she'll do it again here in a second, I'll talk about it, but you literally can just rotate around her and avoid all the fire, get a free couple of hits or a free assist, and here it is. I spun one direction and then kind of the other, and I stayed inside the circle of fire, and I got a couple of free hits on her. I would recommend not blocking during this fight. However, you've seen me block a couple of times. If you're unable to roll or if you accidentally throw up a block, you'll take pretty minimal damage. I'm just using a +1 Grass Crest, so it's not that great at blocking. But it helps. Primarily, I would say practice until you know her moves and you can roll her consistently. The other thing I would say is don't let her back you into a corner. Stay in the middle of the arena. That'll get you killed. It almost got me killed right there. And try to stay close to her. The further away you are, the more aggressive that she gets, and the more ridiculous attacks she starts to spam. I want to talk about her fire explosion attack here. I think she's going to do it here in a second. We'll find out, and I'll mention it. And then we'll talk about, there it is, right there. This attack, roll away. You can roll at the right moment and avoid it, but get away from her. That's about the only time that I advocate staying away. And you can see that my guard got broken right there. That could have been pretty bad news. Again, the flame attack, just stay close to her, stay right inside the circle of flame. Most people panic and roll away, which inevitably gets them hit. Alright, during her second phase, her first thing she almost always starts with is the spin to win. And you can see here, I'm continuing to rotate to her left, and most of her attacks start high on your left and go down, and you're able to avoid them. She finishes with a double spin that you can block or block and then roll. Either one works, but if it catches you, it hurts. During this phase, I typically like to continue to rotate left and not get trapped in a corner like a fucking nub cake, which is exactly what happened. Thankfully, she got stuck behind a pillar and I was able to heal there. I like to continue to rotate around to her left because a lot of the attacks she uses start high and come low, and you can avoid them. Other than that, her stab is totally rollable, roll towards or to her sides. She does like a swoop up into the air, right there. Also something that you can roll pretty easily. Unfortunately, this boss is not parryable, at least as far as I'm aware, nor backstabbable, or I would have probably just cheesed her. And that makes her challenging because it's really important to get the roll timing down perfectly. If you don't, she'll punish you. She has a lot of attacks designed specifically to punish you, especially during the second phase. But I actually find her second phase, at least for me, to be somewhat easier. And all I did was practice her roll timing continuously until I had it down. That fire attack is common to both of her phases, but she's typically more aggressive after it in the second phase. But you can do the same thing. You can simply stay close to her when she does it. And another thing is that the closer you stay to her, the more she typically gets in her own way. She's so big and gangly that she has a lot of trouble. Stay close to her and in her butt crack or to her sides, and she has a lot of trouble hitting you because she's too big and her arms are unwieldy. It's kind of like the hitbox that the Four Kings had in Dark Souls 1 if you stayed really, really close. Another attack to watch out for in her second phase, instead of a fire explosion, she'll put her sword into the ground and do a dark explosion. That's another one that you need to figure out the exact roll timing on, if you can, or just roll away from her when she starts it. So there's the fight. Good luck. You can totally do this at low soul levels. Until next time.